our first child guest. How was the park, B?
Say what do you think of that park? Do you like how Eric Adams is spending?
Yeah, B. What do you think about the upcoming presidential election?
Are you a Hamas lady? Or an Israel gal?
Working overtime, serve beer at a Bushwick dive, just trying to stay alive, but it's so damn hard. But I will not worry, though life ain't going as I planned. I hurt and be hard, but it's so much harder. Well, I keep doing the best I can, best I can.
All right, welcome in and welcome back to Under the Apron, the podcast that asks one very important question. What happens when you have one of your good friends on a podcast who is terrible at texting and calling people back? And we will find that out today. I am joined by three very special guests, and this is only the second time that we've done a roundtable like this where everybody has worked for the same place. So
Very rare.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to have it's kind of exactly what we've been hoping to do with this podcast is getting everybody's perspectives, and now we have a whole staff together. We are joined by the person who I've known the longest is to my right. I've known her before she ever even moved to New York City, and then she was a little seedling dropped off on the shores and started her time here and has grown and developed into the beautiful flower of managing a restaurant. I don't know if we want to call that a beautiful flower.
Well, cactus.
Yeah, more like a cactus. She's developed into a full-on cactus, which is funny because I've mentioned you on the podcast a couple times and for a couple different reasons. But to see somebody go through the development from like I'm ready to start my time in New York to then shoot 4 years later and it's like you at Alligator Lounge just looking like the most over it manager in Brooklyn. Like you really developed quickly.
It ages you fast.
My
Sucked
cactus.
up real quick.
Yeah.
That would be a good question. What ages you faster, restaurant management or being the president of the United States? We'll find that out. To my left is somebody who I don't know that well, but we've hung out a number of times and actually took over because Maura and I were housemates, and then I moved out and Derek took my my room. So and we've spent some time together. And then Josh, I believe we've actually met once when I've been the bartender, or maybe we've like grabbed a drink together before in the past. And also Josh's daughter is here today. B, she's adorable. And Natasha is playing babysitter. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being here. Do you want to sing one of those notes?
Absolutely not.
Oh, beautiful.
He has like operatic Tourette's.
Yeah.
It's like
Operettes.
You just have to catch it on a whim.
I looked down and I could see the inside of my leg basically. I will never suck your dick.
I wound up watching Back to the Future, getting fucked up with Doc Brown.
As he sits her on the stool, and no joke, she shit herself.
Oh no! Dude, this story's crazy, guys.
It's story time.
okay. So yeah, and this is when I was probably like 22, so this was amazing to me. Just dating a stripper, it was better than my bar mitzvah. Really, I got more respect. But anyway, she told me of this. This was a little advanced for me at the time. I don't think I could wrap my mind around it. So she had somebody that one of her regulars, just like a waiter or a bartender as regulars, and he would come in and he would specifically request that she pee in a glass, and then he would sip it.
Oh,
while she danced for him.
Oh,
yeah, boy. Took a lot of thought, and this was his thing. But she thought it was gross, as you guys probably do too.
I don't know.
And
I'm on the fence.
But no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. But never trust a woman, and I think this is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Because she wouldn't even pee in the glass. She would give it to the door guy, and
He would pee in the
like
glass?
$10, and he would go take a whiz in there. So he wasn't even drinking her piss, which
Yeah.
is like, you know.
Yeah. I
It's
think
not like if there was a receipt or something like that, or if you know what I mean.
I
It's
would
like-
I would put some money on. I think I could taste the difference between door guy piss and stripper piss.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like you should be able to. That's
I
how. But these
appreciate that,
rubes.
but I don't think you could.
I think I
Oh,
could.
absolutely.
I don't know.
It's going to be a different color. It's
Yeah.
gonna be cloudy.
It depends. It all depends on how much water they drink, and I bet you they both are not drinking that much water.
Yeah, stripper.
Both
No, I was just
Hydrated?
kidding. That's
Water.
As long as it was golden in color, as long as it looked like chicken soup, the dude was happy. So you know what I mean.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That dehydrated piss. As long as it smelled like coffee.
There was a guy who was a regular at a restaurant that I worked at in D.C. who would pay anybody if $200 to take his because he would come to the bar that we'd hang out at afterwards, and anybody who would take his drink go into the bathroom and piss in it, he'd just give you $200. If you called like he was gay, and if you called him like he would just give you $20 if you just all he wanted to do was be berated.
Wow.
So like, and he would just give money out. But one of the things that he wanted people to do is just pee in his drink. Some
Yeah.
people love that shit.
So one of my, I had on Craigslist when I first moved here with my girlfriend. This guy, he started out wanting dirty sneakers. And he's like, send me a picture of your shoes, and you know, so then, and he lived in Dumbo, and he wanted me to come over after like having a bunch of drinks at the bar and pee on him. And he wanted to pay me like $500 or something for it. And so I asked my girlfriend at the time, who was from Queens, and she said, "You better fucking do it," because we didn't have a lot of money at the time.
Yeah.
And so I was gonna do it, and you know, I went and I was at the bar, and I called him, and he says, "Meet me in the laundry room." I'm like, the fucking laundry room? I pictured like he would be in a tub, and I just like walk into the bathroom, piss on him, and leave.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he'd put my money on, you know, the sink or
Classic-
something like that.
classic.
That's the way classic piss thing.
Classic piss story.
But then he said the laundry room. I'm like, do you live in an apartment building? He's like, yeah. I'm like, with other people live in the building? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, does anyone maybe do laundry? Oh, he's like, no, it'll be fine. And I was like, that was a deal breaker for me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be like pissing on some guy in a laundry room, and then somebody comes down with a basket of laundry, and I'm like, hey, I'm working. Can you come back in like 15 minutes?
Have you guys ever done anything for like when you were on the broker side of working in the service industry where somebody offered you something stupid to do that you wouldn't do usually?
100%.
What'd you do?
Got new tires on my car.
What'd you do? Oh, okay. Some
You know, I mean, it was sexual favors.
Yeah.
But I
Sure.
definitely have let somebody do what they needed to do for new tires on my car.
do you regret
It's
it?
probably a
Several other
woman
times,
too.
actually,
It's
because
probably like a
Yeah.
woman.
paid me hundreds of dollars every single time.
Was it a woman?
And you know what? The best thing about it, he wasn't even unattractive.
Oh, that's nice.
So
But this
it
was
was-
one person.
one person.
Yeah, gotcha.
Multiple times.
Cool.
I had a slight. It didn't go through, and I don't fully remember why. But during COVID, there was a guy. I think I matched with him on Tinder or something, but he just wanted pictures of my calves.
You do have nice calves, though.
And
Wait.
like we almost went through, but he got
didn't even know
so
you had a
aggressive
farm.
and demanding that I cut it off. and I
You have a
didn't-
Yeah, why?
No, but
do you
it-
make veal?
Yeah. Feel-
I don't even need to eat the veal. I just want to see pictures of those calves. That's crazy. And you never sent them the pictures?
I think I sent him like freebies, and then he kept getting Nookie rookie.
Hi, Nookie.
Nookie
I
rookie.
nookied him. I just said, here's my Nookie.
But basically, he turned into just a complete. Well, if you can imagine, a complete
I mean,
dick, and I just shut
course.
it down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Was he?
But he was
paying
gonna
for the
pay me
calves?
like he was going to like
Oh.
$300 a picture.
Just for pictures.
Yeah,
Weird.
But you gave him the
So-
pictures for free, so he didn't
You know?
have to.
I know. I was.
Yeah.
I don't remember. There was a reason for it.
You're just like, yo, hey, you realize if you go
You
on
need a
Instagram,
manager.
you can just see
Yeah.
pictures of my
Calf
fucking
manager.
legs.
Like,
yeah, right.
You need a farmer.
okay.
Calves. It was very specific.
Also, on completely opposite spectrums.
Yeah.
Speaking of strip clubs,
Oh, I thought you
every
were talking
time that
about
I have
these.
gone to a strip club, I have actually paid strippers to let me give them lap dances.
Ooh, that's fun.
That's great. No one's
And they have let me dance on the pole.
Hell
They
yeah.
have literally like let me give them lap dances several times. That's quite incredible, actually. Let me just tell you, when they literally sit down and they're like, "Oh, you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Do you think because they know you're gay that it helps? Because
I think they don't know at the beginning, but then once, yes, absolutely.
Once they see you dancing,
Yeah,
they're like,
they're
that boy's gay.
"Oh,
for
that boy's
sure.
gay."
Because every time I
That's the
pretend to be
gayest shit
gay,
I've ever
that
seen.
shit never works.
Well,
I get that though. I mean, I would almost I fucking hate strip clubs personally. It's my no shade to anybody, but like it's just not my thing. But I would feel more like in control and less gross about it if it was me doing it. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Yeah.
He wants his Magic Mike moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had it
There you go.
multiple times.
Yeah, Magic Derek, the Magic D.
Magic D.
that ship sailed for me.
Yeah,
Old stripper ship. Ship.
the strip ship.
Bye bye.
Oh.
It's gone.
That'd be fun.
You know,
A ship full
I
of
don't want to
strippers.
be in porn
Why is that
anymore.
not
I
a
just
thing?
want
He
to
wants to run a
direct it.
business.
You know, it's like I feel like that's
Been
mature.
there, done that too.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just get a stripper ship. I feel stripper ship is like an internship to being a stripper.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been telling one woman in particular who's a friend of mine. But now that OnlyFans is a thing, and it may have already passed, but it's like if I was a woman, especially an attractive one, like, and especially if I was really struggling financially, throw some fucking not even naked pictures on the internet and get paid for it and like it would be very difficult for me to say no to that. But at the same time, with the same question of like, have you ever done that guy that I was talking about who would hand money out was the brokest I've ever been, and I never once did it because I had this like moral code of I'm not gonna belittle myself to that point. And I also liked him as a person. I was like, this is gonna make our friendship weird.
Right.
But
Every time, yeah.
That's where I would struggle, is just being mean to someone I respect.
Especially if he didn't like your piss.
right, exactly. Right. That was actually why I didn't do it. I was like,
Like, what if he doesn't like my piss?
yeah.
Our friendship.
He's-
You know, every time he sees me,
Yeah.
he's gonna be like, oh, that's the guy with the lousy piss.
he's gonna taste that I eat my ramen dry, and he's gonna be like, this is
Yeah,
fucking disgusting. Yeah.
I can tell so much about you.
Yeah, too much. You're Jewish? Okay. Okay, Maura, you got a story for us?
You know, I struggled with this because I feel like I expect all my craziest stories to come from when I worked at Alligator.
Yeah.
But those aren't really like, I have like weirder stories from my current spot.
Sure.
But then, okay, so for instance, it's like always just the random people kind of walking around. I'll try and piece this together best I can. But basically, one time, there was this guy. What? Oh.
Is this going to turn into a therapy session?
Yeah, pretty
No.
much.
It's a short
Let's just-
story.
let's
Short
just sit
story.
there and
Don't get
go,
too
mhm.
excited. But
Yes.
there's this guy.
How did that make
It's
you
an
feel?
alt guy, regular dude, just rolled up in a full ass carpet outside of the restaurant
And a carpet?
Oh, carpet.
for
carpet.
hours.
Wait.
Just-
What?
Yeah, he was really like a rug like this. He rolled
There's a
himself up in one.
scaffolding.
Oh yeah, no, that guy's famous.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
carpet.
Oh, you know who it is?
John or
yeah.
something.
As a matter of fact, he's come up on this podcast twice before. I don't know. It's this guy who I guess, well, and there may be more than one, because I think one of the guys had like was wealthy enough that he had like a team with him who would kind of like make sure that people understood what was going on. He just likes his kink is to be rolled up in a carpet like in
And walked
parties and
on.
stuff, and just have people walk over him.
Mhm.
And he just wants to be there. And he's super rich, and he just like shows up to parties and
Okay.
and they roll him up.
So that's what we heard. We ended up talking to the guy at some point.
Mhm.
Normal dude.
He said he was
Very
gonna give us a good
coherent,
Yelp
very
review.
whatever. He's just like, oh yeah, I'm
Talking
just,
about his
I'm
Yelp.
just doing this essentially.
Yeah.
And that has never left my brain because I'm like, what the? He was outside our dumpster in the middle of the sidewalk. It wasn't like a,
Glamorous situation.
it was just kind of
got out of the
random. I was just like, what
scaffolding.
are you doing?
yeah.
But
Then he moved to the dumpster, which is a
That's
step up for a
you know
carpet.
one of the most incredible things.
but that's a
There's
kink you're
so
telling me.
many ways to make money.
That's
Yeah.
Like
doesn't
you
make
can
money,
literally
though.
do every. Oh, he does make money.
But he didn't
Well,
do it
not
because he was
inherently.
gonna,
Right.
he didn't know he was going to make. He didn't do it to make money.
No,
He did because he
but it just
loved
started
being
in-
rolled up
Yeah,
in
I-
a
I
It's
don't
like
know-
being
Walked on.
stepped on.
I don't know if he makes money from it because honestly, that sounds to me like I grew up relatively wealthy and I grew up around a lot of rich kids, like rich kids.
Yeah.
That sounds like some rich kid shit.
Mhm.
That sounds
Oh,
like
yeah.
I've by the time I'm 12 years old, I've already experienced everything there is to experience, and I'm bored. And like now, by the time you become an adult, you're just weird and you don't know what you want out of life. And he's just like, well, fuck it, I'll just roll myself up in a carpet. I don't have to worry about money.
No, but that's true.
You know,
This is-
You
so
know?
that's
Off
like
a Metropolitan Ave outside a dumpster.
Yeah, fuck it.
and, like,
the only pure art can come from rich people because they have no other reason to do it.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
I respect him so
They're
much,
not
though.
doing it for money.
It's
the
true.
poor artists,
Thing.
they do it. They hustle for money.
yeah.
But the
Yeah,
rich
you're right. That's
artists,
very true.
I respect him because he's literally,
to
he
get
just
rich
doesn't give a
like
shit.
being
This
an
is just
artist.
what he wants, and he's doing it.
I love that. You know,
I love it so much.
one thing that's cool about that is everybody who I've ever heard talk about him is it is art in the sense that like everybody has to deal with the process of it, and like this is weird, and your first instinct is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But everybody comes out of it being like, hey, that's cool, man. Like you want to do that and you're not hurting anybody else, like who gives a fuck? And it almost really helps you to open your mind to be like, you can do whatever you want in this world as long as you're not
If you
hurting
have money.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Especially
because
if
I
you-
feel like he would get like he can pay the bill. He came into the restaurant and we're like, this guy's a straight up bum. It's not gonna, like, fucking- I mean, he was just getting walked on by, but then he bought drinks and he could pay. So he obviously was a man of means and leisure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you do that and you don't have any money, you're just a bum.
Yeah,
You know what I
well,
mean? So he's getting the
that's true.
bum
There-
experience.
That's pretty true.
There are plenty of adults who are in carpets right now on the street, and they are not.
right.
It's not
Step
art.
on 'em, though.
It's not
If
by
you step
choice.
on them, though, they'll just yell at you. They'll be like, "What the fuck?
Right,
Get the
right.
fuck off me!"
Yeah, there's fentanyl carpets, and then there's rich people carpets. Okay, so we are gonna move.
Still not getting laid. The guy. I feel
Of
like
course
he
not.
still was not. He still
I-
didn't want. What he
I bet
wanted
you
was
he is.
love.
Like-
he wanted like attention, but he wanted to be liked.
I mean, I think that is kind of his getting off. Clearly, he has sort of like a separation anxiety. I wonder if he even would want to have sex. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hey, if you ever want to come on this podcast, Carpet Guy, because I know you're listeing, come right on. We'll roll you up in a carpet, and you can speak from there.
You know.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're going to move along to Topic Roulette. If you haven't heard this podcast before, Topic Roulette, everybody's come with a topic, and we discuss for about 8 minutes. I've got a topic for you guys to start us off, and I think it'll be interesting. I thought of it specifically because I've been through it, and I think you guys may be currently going through it, which is the pros and cons of when you are really good friends and almost exclusively friends with the people that you work with.
Uh-huh.
And like, because
It's a great topic.
I've worked at places like that. It's basically like when you're too close to work. I mean, I have two examples. One of them is that I lived above the bar that I worked at, and that wasn't so much about the coworkers, but it was more that like it just felt like I couldn't get away from work. Like it was, but I've also worked on a staff where we went out for drinks every night afterwards. We became a family, and that's great, and it's awesome because we all understand each other, and there's like real synergy there. It makes work a lot easier. But eventually, when it becomes this thing where like after you leave work, you go grab a drink, and everybody's talking about work.
That's all you can talk.
And it's all anybody talks about, and then you go to sleep, and you wake up, and you go to work, and then you go to get drinks, and you're talking about work, and it's this perpetual cycle that can drove me crazy. Like I eventually had to like make new friends and like start a different path because it's too much at some point. So I'm curious what you guys think about
Well,
that.
that's a whole nother topic too. How do you fucking make friends anymore? Like, what do you do? Because it's like, we
guys are
literally just
young.
work,
They're-
and then like, yeah, we go out, we meet some people, but you never stay friends with them. Especially in our age, like once you get to this age, it's like your work friends really are your friends.
Yeah.
But you don't realize that like the most things you have in common is just work,
Yeah.
and you don't even mean to talk about it.
Well, it's
You
interesting
just
too.
end up-
But you might work at a place where you have
because
things in common with the people there, so you would have been friends with them anyway.
A
Because
lot
where
of-
you work is not just like, you work somewhere that you feel socially accepted as
Right.
well.
Sure. No,
So
100%.
you go,
Oh.
you
It's the worst when that's not the case.
But yeah, isn't it also crazy though that like you become best friends with these people, and then when you stop working with them, you never speak to them
Yeah.
again?
Yeah. It's proximity, a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but more. What were you gonna say?
well,
So do you have any friends outside of work?
I got Laurent.
Yeah. She never fucking responds to my texts or calls. I have, please.
First of all, I've been very
say what you-
responsive today. So
That's good today.
I'm like, you are here.
Yeah. Hey, can we move the date of the podcast? Thanks for responding to my text.
trying. Okay.
Tell me what you
So
were saying.
it was an interesting situation that I was in, whereas I worked with Derek excluded kind of, but I worked with a lot of the people prior to becoming manager.
Right.
So I was friends with all of these people prior to being manager, and then all of a sudden I have this expectation where I have to like really come down. I can't be their friend. I can't X, Y, and Z, and that was a really hard. And I say transition, but I never transitioned. Like that's never. I've never.
You've never transitioned?
No, I've
good to
never
know.
like.
She's still a
I've
woman.
never turned. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never turned into someone who was fully like, I'm your boss, and this is the job, and X, Y, Z.
Yeah, I feel like that's another catch-22 though, because it's like, you know what? I feel like people end up respecting you more because you've been on their level.
I agree with that. I think that's a millennial mentality,
Yeah,
and my bosses are not millennials.
yeah.
So they have
mentality.
just to like respect the people that are doing a job for you. Like that seems to be like more new age than
Yeah,
anything
versus
else.
It's not
yeah,
yeah,
coming
no,
in
but
and
it's
just
the
like
way it should
expecting
be.
like
It is the way it should be for sure. Oh, you
feel
just
like-
lost a
no.
leaf.
But
But
I've been in that situation before too, where I've been promoted and literally had to like start giving orders to my friends.
Yeah.
Versus,
but
I
also
mean,
like we're saying in the same realm, it's like you guys are my friends. You're my only friends. It's the only time I have time to have friends because the job is taking so much of my actual time.
Right.
right.
Well, but
That's all I have.
You're
sweetie.
Hi, B. You're in a specific situation though because of being a manager.
Yeah.
That management is a whole different world, and like then it really like you asked Derek, what's the, how do you make friends outside of work, and that is hard. I think no matter what. But I think it makes it way harder when you have the workload that you have and the stress level that you have, because truly at that point it's just like, where do you find the time?
Well, at that point,
Management-
it's a matter of energy. Like I don't have energy left after the work week.
Right.
That's like if I
It's the
did,
worst
I'd put
job
more
in
effort
the
into
world.
it.
I feel like I saw that, and the one thing I realized from like working in restaurants since I was like 14 is that the manager is always miserable.
Yeah. Never. I've only maybe met like one or two managers who I knew beforehand and I knew afterwards who weren't significantly less happy after a year or two in the job. I have a buddy who works at the bar that I work at now, and I won't say his name, but he started as a bar back. Now he's a manager. He is so angry that his eyeballs are about to pop out of his head because just the job it's this infuriating space where you have too much workload, you don't have enough autonomy. It's a rough space. And now we have our fourth guest. Hi, B.
Hey B. Hi B.
Our first child guest. How was the park, B?
Say what do you think of that park? Do you like how Eric Adams is spending?
Yeah, B. What do you think about the upcoming presidential election?
Are you a Hamas lady or an Israel gal?
Here's a question that kind of coming from that. Yes, thank you. Finally. and
Oh my gosh.
and according to B, there's 3 more weeks of winter. But okay, here's a question, a follow up to that, which is, and I've asked this before on the podcast, but as you know, learning the lesson of boundaries socially is one of them. What's something that you guys can think of that you wouldn't necessarily immediately think of in terms of something that you got out of being in the service industry, like that a way that you grew or a lesson that you learned that you wouldn't necessarily expect?
Go ahead.
I mean, I'll say my time at Alligator like opened me up completely.
In what sense?
Like I became a different level of confidence I'd ever seen before.
Yeah.
And just because I think a lot of it had to do with just like genuine human interaction.
You got to yell at people too, and you
And
got
I,
to tell them what
I
to
also
do,
had
and they
this
had to
level of
listen.
like, oh, like you can't disrespect me, and I can finally speak up for myself.
Right.
For the first time ever in my life, really, I felt comfortable doing that, and that stuck with me for sure.
yeah.
Like I didn't lose that once I left, so
I
that
should-
was like a different side of me completely.
Service industry is one of the like you can have the most fun, I think, working in service industry, but it does make you grow up faster than any other industry in the world.
Yeah.
But it's also
And maybe I mean that's my own opinion.
Yeah.
but,
You're just
you
seeing
know,
like all walks of life at any given
Yeah.
time. Like you see different perspectives, and
it
that's
was like,
definitely
you know,
beneficial.
I was a theater major. Like it's literally what I was trained to do, to be on stage every day.
Yeah.
Service industry is like something that it's like
Yeah.
you literally have to be on stage every day. You have to put on this performance for people constantly. And it's exhausting.
Right.
No, that's what
Yeah.
to me that's the hardest thing because as I get older, I don't want to deal with people. I don't want to see them. I don't want to talk to them. I hate them.
But
I
it's
already
like,
know
literally, it's
what
your
they're
way of
gonna do.
life,
I
so
know
what
what they're
do you
gonna
do?
say. I know it. Like I've seen every type, and it's like fuck you. Like it's like, God, and there's some days.
Yeah. Well, sorry, we're all laughing because B's
That's her
having a
beer
beer.
now.
It's her first beer.
It's not her first beer.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Well, I think that ties into what you were saying earlier about the fact that it's like sometimes you really just need time to yourself because when you're on stage constantly and constantly giving like
Yeah.
almost a fake part of yourself,
Yep.
you just literally need time to breathe.
I think you learn boundaries very quickly.
Yeah.
You also, as we were just saying, you learn confidence very quickly. I was for a very long time as a through adolescence and early adulthood had a lot of social anxiety. Was very kind of scared of. I wasn't a confident person, but when you have to show up every day and talk to 100 people, it just beats that out of you. You learn how to have your own voice. You learn how to stand up straight and be comfortable with yourself.
But are there days where you're still not?
Of course.
You know what I mean? And those are like those are tough.
Those are tough, for sure.
Everybody has off days.
We're going to move towards the end of the podcast. I also wanted to say, I meant to say it at the beginning of the episode, a regular of mine for a long time when I worked at Macquarie Park and then at Alligator, her name is Genevieve, just passed away this week from cancer after a long bout with cancer. I don't know if you ever knew Jen. She was older Italian lady. She used to bring us like homemade chicken parm and stuff to the bar. She was just an absolute sweetheart, one of like the mayors of the neighborhood. And she just passed. So rest in peace, Genevieve. We love you. Okay, so we are going to end the show with a new thing that we've never done before. Usually we do a thing called Chris Marcello's Fast Five, where we ask 5 questions. But because it's 3 of you guys, we're going to do a little word association game. So I'm going to say I'm gonna say a couple words. Anybody, as soon as you think of something, just first thing that pops out of your head. All right, you ready? Bar mitzvah.
Darsky.
Dream job.
Trash.
OnlyFans.
Only fan.
You'd find her.
Bad sex.
Destruction.
Your fault.
Magicians.
Great.
Musicians.
Perverts.
Where did you get that water?
SpongeBob.
SquarePants.
Pervert. Dubstep.
Awful.
I love dubstep.
It's okay. I did. There's the first word that came to mind. It doesn't
2011.
feel that way.
2011. Dude, the first time I ever heard dubstep, I had made the absolutely terrible mistake of taking mushrooms and doing cocaine at the same time.
Oh wow.
And I was in the
That
back.
was your first time.
I was in
You're
the back.
trapped in it.
It's just like those two do not go together. If you're out there, don't never mix those
One
two.
cancels
No,
out
you
the
get-
other.
You get scared.
Yeah, exactly.
and
It-
you
it-
just
scared.
end
It just
up-
causes
really a primal
anxiety.
fear.
And I'm talking about I took a full eighth of mushrooms. It wasn't like a little microdose. So I'm tripping balls and then also blown out.
Yeah.
And I'm with people who I don't know in the back of their Jeep, which also never go hang out with people you don't know
Not a
for
lot
the
of
first
room
time
there.
on mushrooms, let alone on mushrooms and cocaine. And all of a sudden they just start blasting dubstep. and it's these two German girls, and the music alone is already too much for me. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then the German girls turn and they go, yeah, this is how we do it in the club in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
They're like right in front of my face. I remember one of them looked like a frog, and I'm just listening to this new music that was just way too intense. So
As a Jew, that's something you never want to hear is
this is how we do it in the clubs in Germany.
yeah, two German girls.
I don't want to know
what
about
club.
anything
Yeah,
that
what
we do
club
in Germany.
And yeah.
Okay, last word association. All right, ready? Influencer.
Bullshit.
Instagram.
Boom. That's all right.
I wish I was one.
Well,
You are.
yeah.
You just don't know. You're just an.
I haven't tapped into it yet.
You'll tap in.
You're just an influencer. in
No, I
real
wish I
life,
could make that money.
you know?
Follow her at maurascavs.com for more Cav.
Follow her
related
home
content.
from work. you know?
Okay, guys. Well, that was a good way to end the podcast. We love you. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Salam alaikum.
Bye.